Hey everybody, my name is Danielle and this is Chatter Out Loud. Thank you so much for joining me. Your presence is very much appreciated. So welcome or welcome back. Today I'm going to chat about It's a Wonderful Lifetime, the series that is. It's back with 6 weeks of new movie premieres of original holiday movies. And today I'm chatting about Reindeer Games Homecoming. If you're interested in hearing my thoughts about the movie, keep listening. Reindeer Games Homecoming. It premiered on Saturday, November 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern on the Lifetime channel. It stars Sarah Drew, who plays Mackenzie, Justin Bruening, who plays Chase, and Brian Sills, who plays Simon. The synopsis is as follows. When her father dies, Mackenzie keeps her father's tradition of the town's fundraising, the Reindeer Games, alive. But when high school crush Chase shows up and plays against her, the sparks between them grows. All right, Mackenzie, aka Mac. She's back in town during the Reindeer Games. Chase, who's a fading Hollywood star, he shows up to help his sister during her pregnancy. And the relationship between Mac and Chase is rekindled. All right. Mac and Chase, they know each other very, very well. They have history. They have a deep friendship that you immediately lock into once you see them on the screen together. And so right away, we're rooting for them. I thought that the leads had great chemistry. I thought it worked very, very well. They had great timing in their scenes and their lines. The first kiss in the movie was really, really great. Or I should say was great. Period. It was nice to see Chase start to feel better after coming home and spending time with Mac away from Hollywood, right? He describes it as a breath of fresh air. And Mac, she had dreams of her own. She was attending medical school. And during her residency, her father passed. And so she came home and her father left her the house and she came home and she began teaching. And then she just she stayed in town and started to make her life. And after a while, she's trying to figure out how to get unstuck. Or she says she felt like she was just stuck, right? Meanwhile, throughout the entire movie, we watch her hold on to this letter that her dad wrote. Her dad had passed 5 years ago. And they had this tradition where they write each other a letter on Christmas Eve, and Mac has been holding on to this letter from her dad over the past 5 years. She can't bring herself to read the letter because she thinks like that's the last time she'll hear from him. It's like a metaphor almost. Anyway, so we see her struggle through the movie as she tries to figure out like what does her life supposed to look like. Okay, so they had funny moments in this movie. By the way, I love this ase I loved everything about it. They had a few funny moments. One was when in the beginning, Chase took off his shirt. Now, mind you, he's a Hollywood star. He's very famous, so he's coming back to his hometown. And everybody's like, oh my goodness, he's back. And he's a good looking guy, And so he has a lot of attention now, right? So he's participating in the Reindeer Games, and his nephew talks him into doing this one race where they have to jump into the water. It's cold. It's like the middle of winter. Anyway, when he takes off his shirt, everyone's like, oh my gosh. Even the DJ stopped in mid-sentence and pulled out his camera, because Chase is like that good looking, right? One of the girls passes out. That was funny. Another thing that I thought was pretty cute was Simon. He calls Mackenzie and Chase. He calls them, oh, there they are, Macaroni and Chase. Get it? It's so corny, but I loved it. I like the sister's advice for Chase telling him Mac is such an amazing person and told him not to be an idiot. And she emphasized, don't be an idiot again, right? So that kind of gives there's some meaning behind that because they had like a relationship when they were younger, and something happened between them where he just left and followed Hollywood. So his sister's reminding him, hey, this is a good girl. Like, don't be an idiot. Just go with it and, nurture it and just be yourself. The conflict in the movie arose after his agent Terry came back into town to try to let him know that he got this part. Originally in the movie, he was like looking at texts and continuing to call his agent, say, hey, did you hear anything? Did you hear anything? And the more and more time he was in the town and spending time with Mac, that became secondary to him. So the agent, of course, couldn't get a hold of him and he wasn't returning messages. So she just came into town and she began talking, and she was kind of like putting down the town, saying, oh, you're blending in with the normal and you're going to be happy with a librarian and all these other things. And the conflict came in because Mac overheard that. And so she was very upset, and they were playing a hockey game at the time. And she hit that ball in the in the goal so hard that when Mac went to get it, he banged his head on the on the goal. It just was awful. I think she knocked down her teammate, which is her dad's friend. And these are older guys, and he sprained his wrist. It was just awful. Anyway, fast forward. I talked about the letter earlier. She held on to the letter her dad wrote on Christmas Eve. Again, this was a tradition. And when she finally read that letter, it was such an emotional scene. I thought it was a very good scene, but it gave Mac the push she needed. At first, it appeared that she was moving in a direction that didn't include Chase, but then in the end, they get to the happily ever after, and we love that, right? I love this movie. It gave me all the feels. Christmas was present throughout, and more so through service, right? They went to the hospital to sing carols. The patients enjoyed it, and it was just wonderful to see that act of giving. I love the crossword puzzle clues and the scavenger hunt towards the end that Mac had to figure out to get to Chase at the end. And it went along right with the game theme of the movie. So I thought that worked really well. This was such a feel-good movie. I loved everything about it. I recommend it. It definitely lived up to the hype. This is a great story with great performances, and I thought it was nicely done. Good job, cast and crew. All right, Reindeer Games Homecoming. Have you seen the movie? What did you think? You have to let me know your thoughts in the comment below. All right, and that's all I have. So be sure to come back and give me a listen. I'd love for you to like, share, follow, comment, and or subscribe. All will help my channel grow, so thank you in advance. My name is Danielle. You're listening to Chatter Out Loud. Thank you so much for joining me. And as always, I appreciate your support. And that's all I have. Thanks again for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.